Hi there, my name is Scott, and welcome to Renaissance Spirit. More than just a style, but a style for living, learning, growing, and thinking. Live the Renaissance Spirit. In this video, we're going to talk about being our authentic selves. I've used the term several times in multiple videos. Check them out on my channel. But I never really defined what an authentic self was and how to be it and how to convey it to others. So I thought it would be important to take a few moments to discuss that. If you've never heard the term before, it's just the idea or realization of who you are inwardly, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you perceive, your inner core. It's not necessarily your style or aesthetic, if you have one, but what you're feeling and thinking and conveying that information, not only to yourself through things like mindful meditation, but also to others, to speak your own personal truth. And the way to do that, first of all, is to understand who you are, what you want, what you desire, what your passions are. Understand why you think the way you do. You've heard the term before that you shouldn't take things at face value. That, for example, watching news, you have to make sure that it's real news and not something fake. You have to make sure that it's something that's verifiable with sources that you can go and just Google yourself if you wanted to. The same can be true of our authentic selves. We have to be willing to question what we are, who we are, and what we believe. Is it something that fits into your own personal paradigm, or is it something that you just possibly learnt or regurgitated from somebody else? The idea and saying of a mile wide and an inch deep, we have a lot of information in our heads, and we try to collect and retrieve that information to understand what we're thinking. But at the same time, many of us don't have we may have a broad knowledge, but we don't have the depth of certain things. And I'm not saying you in particular, I'm the same way. You know, we all know certain things and maybe an expert on certain subjects or topics, but not everything. There's too much out there for us in a whole lifetime to be able to do that. Just think about your Netflix account. If you wanted to watch a movie or TV show, I mean, there wouldn't be enough time in one lifetime to be able to do that, to watch everything that YouTube or Netflix offers. So we aren't necessarily experts on many things. There are certain subjects and disciplines out there that we probably have never even heard of. But now, especially with things like the internet, things like social media and the web, we have so much more information at our disposal than previous generations could even dream about, or again, even knew about. When we have an idea or thought, we need to challenge that to see if it's something that fits within our value system, our beliefs, our morals, our ethics. So there is a component of logic and reason and questioning to our authentic selves. And there's also a component of things like curiosity. We have to be willing to learn things every day, and we have to be willing to learn things that we might not necessarily want to learn, or things that we might, upon hearing it initially, might disagree with completely. There are people every day who disagree with us that have valid opinions that we need to understand and learn from them. And that's part of the active listening that goes into understanding who we are. We're a mirror of ourselves, but we're also a mirror of the outside world. We're a mirror of what society and culture teach us or that we're exposed to. So the more that we can expose ourselves to people of other cultures or minority groups or religions or sexual orientations or transgendered or people with disabilities, the more we understand what life is like for others, the more we can put ourselves in situ to understand who we are ourselves. It's not creating labels or attaching labels to who we are. It's understanding who we are and then accepting those labels if we find them to be valid. None of us are perfect. In a previous video, I just discussed the idea of being afraid of failure. Well, we have to also not be afraid to understand and explore who we are. It's part of the dynamic of life. It's part of self-care. We have to be willing to question ourselves as much as we question the news or question others, whether we agree with them or not. It's this filter and lens that creates what we perceive as our authentic selves. And then we have to live that. We have to grow into that and become who we really want to be. And if we aren't that person, then we have to realize what our authentic selves are. The little angels on our shoulders telling us who we want to be or what we could or should do versus what we shouldn't do. Once we understand ourselves through things like reflection, contemplation, introspection, and again, the exposures to the outside world and stimuli, we get millions of pieces of data every single second of every single day that we're awake, and probably at night too while we're sleeping. We create this narrative of who we are at any present moment. And that narrative is part of a story, it's part of a chapter of your life. We are a book that is yet to be fully written. How we want to be remembered, how we want to be able to see ourselves is up to us. It's up to you as the author of your own life to be able to make yourself be who you want to be and that reality. And we have to be willing to show that to others, even if it can hurt, even if it causes us embarrassment. If we all lived up to that potential of being our authentic selves, then other people will understand and accept you for who you are, whether or not you're part of their clan or you're their tribe or political party or citizen of the same country even. We're all human. We all have the same basic needs and desires. We all need to appreciate and respect each other. And that's a big problem with America today and many other countries. We end up getting locked up in these culture wars that really doesn't benefit us as individuals or other people or even society in general. We need to be willing to question things like culture wars and see what the hidden agendas are of these things and how they're just dividing us for no reason. We have more in common than what separates us. We're 99.9% the same. We have the same genes. We all came from the same gene pool, the same family. We're all related. If we can't accept others, what are we doing here? And if we can't accept or love ourselves, do you think you were honestly put on this earth or live on this earth to hate yourself or to feel that you shouldn't belong or to feel that you don't deserve respect or dignity? None of us should have those feelings. We all do at certain times in our lives, and I realize that, I'm talking about things outside of my purview, but we all deserve things like respect and dignity. If we can't give it to ourselves, how can we give it to others? How can we treat others like we want to be treated if we're not willing to treat ourselves with the same manner? We have to be willing to respect and forgive ourselves like we should for others, as we would have them do unto us. So there's a lot of components to our authentic self, and I hope I didn't make it sound too complicated. It's really easy. It's just understanding who we are, what we think, and why, and accepting that, and being that, and speaking that truth, not only to our friends and families, but to our employers, to our community, to our neighbors, to our politicians, speaking truth to power. When we're able to understand who we are, we can speak. It's almost a shield in that it will protect us because we know who we are. We know what our value is. And we all have value. You have value. You have value. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope I didn't go on a rant. If you did enjoy this, please check out my other videos, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Live the Renaissance spirit. Take care. Thank you very much for watching.